But moving on from this, because if you like unexpected beatdowns, then we had another one last night in the NBA between the Celtics and the Nuggets. The
Beat 'em
Celtics struggling
down
all season long. People calling for the head of the coach, Brad Stevens. They go into Denver against the Nuggets, who are on an 8-game winning streak, and beat the brakes off of them 105-87 under the strength of their two stars, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. The Nuggets were minus Jamal Murray, but that doesn't count because they've been winning without him. He's a good player, but they obviously can win without him with what they have with MVP frontrunner Nikola Jokic, or one of the frontrunners, we'll say.
The frontrunner,
Aaron Gordon.
They're giving
Michael
him all
Porter
the number.
Jr.
Yeah.
All right, so in this game, Jay, with what the Celtics have gone through this season, keeping that in mind, what did you see from this team in this game as far as what this game means or what it can mean for the Celtics now that they won like this against this team?
Say that again.
Given the struggles that the Celtics have had, winning a game like this in Denver against this type of a team that was truly ascending, what does this mean for the Celtics?
Okay, simplify that question one more time. I want the people to understand the question that you're asking.
Uh-huh.
What does this mean for the Celtics?
How can they use this?
How can they use this?
Will this help them to transform their season?
Will this grow them? Will they become Autobots?
Right.
And morph into something else? No. I wanted to repeat that 3 times on purpose. No, this does not mean that much to me for Boston, because the problem I've had with Boston is their inconsistency. They go out there and do this, and then they will just vanish against another team. Not to take away from this victory, because this was great. They had no bench players in double figures. That will not win them anything in the East at all. Going against Philly, going against Brooklyn, players like that, that's not going to help them. They need guys to be able to step up on the bench. Tristan Thompson has been terrible this year. I don't know what happened to him when he went there. It just seems like he doesn't fit in.
He should retire and just be on the Kardashian show.
I mean, there's a lot more money probably there.
Absolutely.
Well, not a lot more than what he's making now, but there's a lot of money there. It's probably not more than what he's making now, because then he has to make his own brand and all that.
Does
beard,
he
mustache.
still have that contract LeBron James got him in Cleveland? Is that
No,
still being paid?
he's on a new contract.
Who gave him a new contract?
Boston did. They signed him.
For what?
To be Tristan.
To come off the bench?
He was supposed to start.
I guess you got guys. Okay.
He was supposed to start, but he ended up losing his starting position to Robert Williams.
In all fairness, he is one of the bench players who scored, Tristan Thompson.
He scored 9 points. Yeah. I mean, he did okay. My point. Boston needs more from everybody. And I did this video before. So check out our YouTube channel. You can see where I talk about this. I think it's time for Brad to go. I love Brad Stevens. I think Brad Stevens is a really good coach. But at a certain point, you need to evolve. And I think that this is the part where he's hit his limit. This is it for him. Time to move on from our guy and move to something else. Now, for the Nuggets, this is also sounding like a coaching problem. They had 7, 9, 11, just say 10. They had 14 points off the bench. In that entire game. Out of 87 points, 14 was off the bench. That's including Paul Millsap. Wow, that's not good. That's not good. And that's when I'm talking about coaching. A lot of people have been pointing out about Mike Malone and his rotations and stuff, and they felt like Jokic shouldn't have been pulled out as long as he was. You can tell that he was experimenting with rotations and stuff, and that didn't help. Michael Porter Jr. struggled in this game. Aaron Gordon only put up 5 shots in 31 minutes. How do you only put up 5 shots in 31 minutes as a player like Aaron Gordon with, as you mentioned, Jamal Murray out of the game? You can't have someone like Aaron Gordon, the way that he's supposed to contribute, not put up shots. And the crazy thing is, him only scoring 5 points, he still was a plus 10, a plus minus. So in the game, they outscored the team by 10 points while he played in his 31 minutes and still lost by 18 points.
Well, I think this gives the Celtics a choice. They're at a fork in the road of their identity, who they're going to be for the rest of the season. Because they got to decide, are we the team before this game who was 27 and 26, is inconsistent as any team in the league, as you pointed out, or are we the team that dominated the hottest team in basketball? Who are we? what are we going to become moving forward? I think that they're at that crossroads. And I like what you said about Brad Stevens in the sense of adjusting, being able to coach stars differently. And I have an idea of what he should do. It probably violates everything that he knows about basketball, but I've seen this work. I think that he needs to make Jason Tatum the point guard, and because he did this for a stretch last season, and he played extremely well in that spot. I think it was because Kemba Walker was hurt.
Yeah.
Because we know he's got an injury history still to this day. And I don't know where that came from, bro.
Wow.
So I think it makes it seem like you're talking about making changes like that, things that really go against his instincts and what he has normally done as a coach.
That makes sense. No, that makes sense. And I can see Tatum bringing the ball up and then them moving it around. Boston was always really good at ball movement at one point. At least it felt like to me as an outward observer of it, without going too granular into the play running and all of that and the rotations. I've always felt like they moved the ball well. And now it's getting more hero ballish, mainly because you got two stars in Tatum and Brown, and then Kemba Walker just kind of facilitates the piece. And I think you're right. Kemba can play pretty good off the ball. And you can have Tatum bring it up, get people moving. That's where they're going to see the success. I think it's a funny thing about it going into Golden State and why Golden State was so successful is that they were always really good of just moving. Now, that was the part of their game, and that was what made it easier for Steph and Klay to get them shots up. But that's what made them a really good team. They were just really good at moving. San Antonio, really good at moving. If Boston can bring that component back, get out of the hero ball until you really need it, which is late in the games, they can be great. But at the same time, as defenders will tell you about those who had to hold Rip Hamilton years ago when he was in Detroit, it's exhausting chasing a guy around the court.
I used to love watching that.
But it's also exhausting for the guy running basically those routes the entire time. He's out there being a wide receiver, but that's what you want. So I guess conditioning wise, they probably should get better at doing that so that when the playoffs hit and they need to slow things down in the half court, they can do it. But at this point, I'm all for them just making Tatum the point guard.